Pharmacist Ben.
Well, hello there.
How are you?
I am good. How are you? Happy Labor Day.
Happy Labor Day, sir. Happy Labor Day. Did you have some hot dogs or
No,
no processed meat today?
you know, on the processed meats on the bad food list, it should be like there should be in the top 10 for sure. People don't realize
Processed
how bad those things are. The nitrates.
with the nitrites, yes, they
Yeah.
are on the bad foods list.
No,
Yes,
not
they
to
are.
mention whatever the heck they put, whatever the heck the meat is. Nobody really knows. No, they're not. They're not a healthy food. There's no doubt about that. Hamburgers are a little better if you do it right.
Uh, I do hear that the hamburgers are.
I thought you just don't know what they are. Just
I
stick
mean,
anything in
you
those
get them from
cases.
Argentina. I guess they're okay, right?
I don't know. I don't know. Is that true? Argentinian. I know they raise a lot of beef in Argentina, but I don't know. I'm not a big beef guy.
They don't allow steroids. That's why we get our collagen from Argentina.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mhm.
All right. Well, what's going on today, AJ?
It's just about hot topics and cool answers
Okay.
with Pharmacist Ben. And I really appreciate the fact that you decided to
On
make
Labor
time
Day?
for folks on Labor Day. Yes.
I love it. I wouldn't know what to do with myself if I wasn't out there helping folks. Helping people helps me. When we help others, we help ourselves. There's a lot of depressed people. People have like emotional, mental health issues. And I don't know if you ever had a friend who's depressed or had mental health issues, mental health problems. It's really tough to get through that. When somebody has you can't rationalize with them, because if you could rationalize with them, they wouldn't have the mental health issue. They would be, taking care of it themselves. So you can't really rationalize with somebody when they have a mental health issue. And that's the really tricky thing about working with the mind. If you have a mind problem, you can't use the mind, in which case you can't solve the problem. So it's really, really tricky when people have mental health issues. But I find when people have mental health issues, there's some kind of lack of purpose or meaning, that they're missing something to live for. Does that make sense? You follow me? And this gives me something to live for. Helping people gives me something to live for. So it helps me to help others. And I think that's such a perfect setup. The system is set up so we get better when we help other people. How cool is that? Right? And you're doing it every day. I don't know if you necessarily focus on the amount of help that you're doing, because you're busy growing the business and you're doing all the technical stuff, but you're really helping a lot of people. AJ, you're making a huge difference in the world. You, AJ, Atif, whatever the heck your last name, Atif Joseph, is that what it is? Atif Joseph, whatever it is, you, Atif Joseph.
For blowing me, Ben.
You're helping a lot of people. You're making a big difference. I mean, that's what we're here for. We're not here just to take up air, just to be in a body. And the price we pay for taking up air and being in a body and not making a difference in the world is depression, anxiety, worry, angst, insomnia. So and by the way, longevity gives us an opportunity to do it. If you're looking for a platform, if you're looking for a way to make a difference in the world, longevity gives you an incredible opportunity to do just that and make money at the same time.
That is absolutely why I do it.
Yeah. So I do this for me as much as I do it for anybody else.
Mm-hmm. And absolutely why I joined Longevity was because I thought that the products could make a difference in other people's lives. So that's why I did it.
And you noticed you have a great story. I hope you tell your story all the time, because you have this great story about how it helped you, how you noticed. I think you may want to tell a story. You like the stuff was. I'm going to paraphrase. I'm not going to tell your story for you, but as I understood it, you let the stuff sit there for a long time, and one day you decided to take it and use it, and then your world changed.
Not quite in that way, but my world absolutely changed very quickly after using the products.
Yeah, who was it that you told me let the stuff sit there, and then I thought that was you.
So
I
purchased it from my cousin. He never used it, but I kept listening to Doc, and then he talked about Rebound, and I said, okay, well, I'm going to make $1 million selling this Rebound, because every sports program in America is going to want to have a product that helps kids. And I had a cracked hip, but I wasn't thinking that the products could help me. I had a cracked hip and sciatica so bad that I had to tie ace bandages around my back and around my leg. But at no point did I think that the products would help me. That wasn't So, but when
That
I
wasn't part
bought,
of the equation. That wasn't part of the deal.
wasn't part of the deal. I said, I want to make $1 million selling it to save athletes. That
Yeah.
was what, I bought it from my cousin to help him with his diabetes. And I thought it could help with that. But he never took the product. He said, oh, this tastes nasty. So he didn't take the product. But me, I kept listening to Doc's message. I'd hear you on Coast to Coast for many years. I heard you and Doc, and I was like, okay, and every time you're on, I'm making sure that I'm listening. But again, I didn't think it was for me.
Yeah, we say the same thing over and over again.
I didn't think it was for me. So, when I became a distributor, it came with a ton of products. And since I could barely walk, I couldn't really give it out to people. So I just started taking it. And I just like, oh, this tastes good. Oh, this is great. This tastes good. And then in about 10 days, I'm playing basketball.
That's incredible. I love that story.
So that's me. Becca, how are we doing on YouTube? I don't have access to any of the YouTube metrics here. So everybody that's on Rumble, and a good number of people on Rumble. Hey, Bruce, happy Labor Day. Thank you. Some good numbers on Twitter. Everybody out there on Twitter, but I cannot see YouTube, so Becca's going to have to help us. Ben, our first question. And I don't know if this is for you or not, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
All right.
I'm wondering how long to leave grass-fed butter and or ghee out of the refrigerator. Days or weeks?
You can, it won't go bad. Days, weeks. I don't know about months, but possibly. Certainly days or weeks. Mm-hmm. Ghee you can leave forever. Did he ask about ghee, did you say, or just grass-fed butter?
Butter and ghee.
Yeah, ghee you can leave forever. Ghee does not need to be refrigerated. Butter doesn't need it really either. I've had it for weeks. It gets a little mushy, so I usually put it back in the fridge. But it won't go bad. I've never seen it go bad. Have you ever seen it go bad?
I keep butter outside the fridge, but there's people I know who would think that it's horrible to leave it out the fridge.
I've never seen it go bad, and it gets a little soft. If it's too soft, it's hard to deal with. But it's not a problem. It's kind of interesting. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have enough water in it to. It says it mold. Maybe that's true. It'll mold. It'll only mold if there's water in it, though. Somebody just said it'll mold. Mm-hmm. Mold requires water. Butter doesn't have water in it. I don't think it doesn't have enough water anyway. So it shouldn't mold. Salt will help. Salt will definitely help though. But I think it's the fact that it's anhydrous, doesn't have water, that really prevents it from getting moldy. Mold requires water or moisture. There's probably a little bit. I don't know if it's enough though. So I talked to somebody this weekend. Buttermilk that may not have been fully removed. I think they mean the water is fully removed. Yeah, there's probably a little bit of water in there. So I talked to somebody this weekend, and I got, you always say how I like to simplify things, and I simplify it to the triangle disease, right?
Yes, sir.
And then we simplified it further to the plane. What do we call it? The line of disease or the plane disease? Just got rid of the third.
Still working on it.
Yeah, I'm going to simplify it even further right now. And I did this with this lady over the weekend because she had multiple sclerosis, right? Terrible autoimmune disease. There's 100 plus 120 or so, 130 autoimmune diseases. They keep adding more. 30, 40 million people have autoimmune diseases. Doctors say there's no known cause, and heredity and viruses and, genetics and this and that, and you'll be on drugs the rest of your life. And I was talking to her about it, and I could just see that she's a smart woman. She's no dummy. And there was a resistance to hearing what I had to say. And you know what I said, AJ? Where are you going? Where'd you go, AJ? You know what I said to her? And this is my further simplification, the ultimate simplification. This is disease. You ready? The wrong stuff's getting in and the right stuff isn't. How's that for simplification? The wrong stuff is getting in and the right stuff isn't. That's pretty much it for all chronic degenerative diseases. Now, I was talking about the blood. When we say into the body, it's important to distinguish, define what we mean by into the body. It's into the blood. When we say something's getting into the body, we mean into the blood. not into the digestive system, not into the skin, not into the tissue, into the blood, which is what we're talking about. The wrong stuff's getting into the blood, and that's why all disease is cell disease, and all cell disease is preceded by dirty blood. And the right stuff isn't. So we can help you with the right stuff. That's the mighty 90 essential nutrients. And we can help you with the wrong stuff by telling you what's going on, how the whole thing works. But she just didn't want to hear it, you know? Oh, I've tried everything, but I can't fast. This is what she says to me. I can't really. I know, exactly. And then, oh, but I can't do the minerals because there's fluoride in the minerals, and there's, I know, exactly. And she was a smart lady. So I was thinking, you know, when I'm talking to her, I didn't, you know, I don't like talking to people if I get resistance. I never talk to people. If there's resistance, I said, fine, call me if you need me. And I just got the idea that there's this lack of a desire to change. You know, they may be an enemy. It's like Kennedy said about Fidel Castro. It's a little before your time. He said he may be a son of a gun, but he's our son of a gun. Something like that. And then I think Jimmy Carter said that about the Shah of Iran. Maybe a son of a gun, but he's our son of a gun. He said a little more colorful language. And that's, I think, how we think about diseases. Yeah, it sucks having multiple sclerosis, but at least I know what I have. It's like I don't have to change. And that's kind of, other than that, I can't figure out why people don't want to do what it takes. You know, we have a medical model, AJ, that has 55,000, more than 55,000 different codes for diseases and disorders and injuries and various health-related conditions. There are technically over 12,000 different medical diagnoses. Over 12,000 of them. But the whole thing can be summed up as wrong stuff getting into the body, right stuff isn't. It's all the same thing. And we make a joke. We say my body's falling apart disease, but it's really just the same stuff. And it happens in different parts of the body. It's all about inflammation. There's no chronic degenerative disease without inflammation. What is inflammation? It's an attack. What is an attack? It's a inflammation, I shouldn't say. Inflammation is a defensive response. What's a defensive response? It's a response to an attack. How do attacks happen in the body? Something's getting in. It's really simple. Why are we complicating this? Unless it's because our sickness may be a son of a gun, but it's our son of a gun. You know what I'm saying? It's like we don't want to change. Other than that, I can't for the life of me figure out why people don't want to do whatever it takes to reverse this thing. If we give them the mechanisms and the strategies as well as the products that will allow them to do it. Lack of belief, maybe? I don't know. Why not give it a shot?
Some folks are attached to their
health challenge.
It's part of their identity. You know, because I have the same quandary for the life of me. Why someone wouldn't want to change their life? They would rather go sit in a room and have all their blood taken out on a weekly, 3 times a week, as opposed to doing some other things. So, you know,
for the life of me, I can't figure out. We talk to, you know, most of the people we talk to aren't like that, but there are a few people like that. Sometimes we'll run into folks and they got 80 different diagnoses. That one gal we talked to, remember that a couple weeks ago? She had 80 or 90 different health challenges. Look, the more you have, the more health challenges you have, the easier it is in a way, because you just stop the stream of toxicity that's coming into the system through food, and you start putting the nutrients into the body, the mighty 90 essential nutrients and a few other things. It's not that difficult. So I'm not necessary. I'm talking myself out of a job here. And that's really what a good healthcare professional should be doing, is talking themselves out of a job. Now, there's a guy, did you send me that text, or somebody, are you sending these texts to me?
I didn't.
Somebody sent me about Charcot-Marie syndrome.
Yes.
The Charcot-Marie tooth disease, they call it.
Okay, we will address that. But since I just mentioned blood, I just want to ask you a quick question. What do you think therapeutically about, there's someone I saw on YouTube who has a practice where they take your blood out and then they remove the inflammation, or they're removing some things out of your blood for therapeutic reasons.
It seems kind of dramatic. I guess it might help, but if you have a constant stream of inflammatory triggers coming into the blood through the digestive system, then what do? Get your blood clean like that every week or every couple of days? How do you do it? Why don't you just stop the stream of toxicity that's coming in through the digestive system? It only comes in through two ways. If you're injecting, okay, so don't inject. Or if you're eating, leaky gut, change the way you eat. Now, if it's really severe, maybe you want to do that, but ultimately you're still gonna have to stop the new toxins from getting in, unless you plan on getting your blood cleaned every couple of days. And I don't know how practical that seems. Doesn't sound very practical to me.
Doesn't sound practical. But
I don't know the process he's talking about, but I can tell you that there's only two ways the blood becomes toxic: injection and food. And that's it. So don't inject, and change the way you eat and patch up that leaky gut.
So what do you think about this Charcot-Marie tooth?
Yeah. So is this a YouTube person, or is this the actual person who asked the questions?
This is a Facebook person who is a longevity person.
Okay. So, and what did she say? Did she say she had it?
Yeah, she does have Charcot-Marie tooth. Yes.
Okay. There's no such thing as Charcot-Marie tooth disease. First of all, get that out of your head. There's a bunch of neurological disorders, nerve diseases, neuropathies, atrophies that affect the periphery of the nerve, the peripheral nerves. So when you have these neuropathies, the peripheral nerves, your nerves don't work. Your feet don't work. Your arms don't work. Your hands and fingers don't work. So what's the problem? Now they'll say there's mutations and there's genetics and etc. But what you really want to deal with is what is causing the inflammatory problem. Remember, everything's inflammation. Charcot-Marie tooth disease is neurological inflammation that is analogous to arthritis joint inflammation. It's just inflammation, right? So how does inflammation get into the system? What triggers the inflammatory system? Assaults. How do assaults get into the system? You tell me.
Or what injection. You eat or what you inject, or you get an injection.
Yeah, so they put names to everything, but it's hard to really know whether your tremors are Charcot-Marie tooth syndrome or Charcot-Marie tooth disease, or are they Bell's palsy, or are they polio, or are they, any other nerve disease? Why is it Charcot-Marie tooth syndrome or Charcot-Marie tooth disease?
Because it's fancier.
It is, exactly. The names don't matter. The names are only there to code you. The names are only there to get you in the computer. The names are only there so you can wear a baseball hat and a t-shirt and race for the Charcot-Marie tooth syndrome cure. The names don't matter. Nobody suffers from a name. We suffer from symptoms, and you cannot treat a name. You can't treat nomenclature. You can't treat words. And the labels that we give things are like the menu. Like I always tell that joke, and people don't laugh anymore because I've said it so much, but it's funny when you go to a restaurant and you take a bite of the hamburger and you spit the hamburger out and say that's the worst hamburger I ever tasted, and the waiter says, "What do you mean the worst hamburger? Look here at the menu. Best hamburger ever. Can't you read? Best hamburger, voted best hamburger in America." You say, "I don't care. It tastes like crap." Who cares what the name of anything is? You don't have Charcot-Marie tooth syndrome. Stop with that. You got neuropathies. You got pain. You got inflammation. Maybe you have a scoliosis, which is another aspect of the so-called syndrome. It's called a syndrome because it's a bunch of things. So how do they actually know it's Charcot-Marie tooth disease? Well, they lump all the symptoms that you have, put them into, these days, probably into a computer, see what the algorithm is, and they spit out Charcot-Marie tooth disease. So what you have is a group of neurological disorders. You can't treat Charcot-Marie tooth disease, but you can treat neurological disorders. They want you to have Charcot-Marie tooth disease so you keep coming back and you keep getting the drugs. And you don't get better, but you see different specialists all the time. I wish I could talk to this lady and ask her.
They may get paid more for Charcot-Marie than they do for...
Maybe. You don't have Charcot-Marie tooth disease. You got numbness. You got tingling. You got neuropathy. You got weakness, muscle atrophy, pain. Why do you have those things? Because the body feels like it's being attacked. So immune cells and inflammatory factors are being secreted, and they're causing all these issues. So let's stop the inflammation. So for this gal, or I assume it's a lady, right? Or maybe it's a guy, whoever it is. First thing you want to do is you want to look for flare-ups and note the flare-ups and relate them to something that's getting into your body. Obviously, that means food, because you're not injecting things into your skin regularly. You're eating regularly, so link it to foods always. And I'm not saying that because I'm Mr. Food Guy. I'm saying it because it's logical. You have something that's getting into the system that's triggering these inflammatory factors. It has to be something. Inflammatory factors don't just spark for no reason. There has to be something that's getting into the system. So do a food diary, and it always helps to fast first, because when you fast for a day or two, things that went under the radar previously will become more noticeable to you as you if you take a day or two off from food. And everybody can do a day or two water fast. A lot of times when we feel like eating food, it's really that we're dehydrated, and water can be very, very satisfying, especially if you put a little Beyond Tangy Tangerine in there periodically. So that's first of all. Second of all, do everything you do for the digestive system. And that means after you've eliminated the foods and you've seen the foods that are causing spikes in your symptoms, then you're going to eliminate the foods. Then you start working on digestive health. And Longevity's got a whole slew of wonderful digestive health products, beginning with the Nightly Essence and the Ultimate Microbiome and the I-26 and the collagen peptides and Fucoid Z and Dr. Aria's liver cleanse and Ultimate Enzymes. There's just so many different digestive health supplements. So for this gal with Marie Charcot tooth disease, or Marie Charcot tooth syndrome, whatever you want to call it, get a hold of us. We'll put you on an entire program. Now, get a hold of AJ or Rebecca or myself, and we'll put you on an entire program. But even preceding this, let me just say this real quick, AJ. Preceding all of this, the most important thing you need when you have Marie Charcot tooth disease or whatever it is, polio or amyotrophic lateral sclerosis or myasthenia gravis or any of a zillion different neurological, neuromuscular diseases, or any health challenge, not just neuromuscular, any health challenges, you have to believe that this is how it works. And then you have to be willing to do what it takes. First, you have to believe. If you don't believe, oh, these guys are full of baloney, it's not going to work, I'm just going to go to my doctor, then forget it. That's fine. Go to your doctor and do whatever you want to do. But you got to believe, or if you believe, we can help you. And then you have to be willing. Belief and willingness precede anything else. Once you believe and once you're willing, we can help you. So for this gal, if you believe that what I'm saying makes sense, and if you're willing to take a jump in with both feet and just not do exactly what we say because we say it, but do what we say because you understand it and it makes sense to you, we can get you better. And we can get you better pretty quickly, because by the time you've been diagnosed with Marie Charcot tooth syndrome or disease, this has probably been going on for a long time. And there's probably been other symptoms that have been going on for a long time, especially symptoms involving digestive health.
Pharmacist Ben, so what you were saying earlier about people being attached to their issues, I personally know this person a bit. She's a part of our health coaching family. She's every day on Daily with Doc on Facebook. She is one person who's out there trying to help other people every single day.
Okay.
But the fact that she's mentioning that she's got Charcot Marie, and she's mentioning the doctor says that her kids also have Charcot Marie, and it's because their telomeres are broken. And this is, and so what I'm
that's just stupidity. Let me tell you why that's complete and utter stupidity. Because whether the telomeres are broken or not is not the point. And yes, there's genetic correlates to all of these things, but that's not the point. The point is, what are you going to do about it? Yes, the genes are responsible for making proteins. They make inflammatory factors. They make tissue. They make all the enzymes. They make all the structure. They make all the proteins in the body. They come from genes. So when certain genes turn on and certain genes turn off, you're going to have issues. You're going to have shortening of the telomeres as the cells break down, as the cells are less healthy. But that's not the disease. The disease is inflammation. The disease is an inflammatory disease. And digestive and GI comorbidities are associated with Charcot-Marie-Tooth syndrome. So tell this person, ask this person, if this person's obviously on the call, are there digestive health, longstanding or historical digestive health issues, even with the kids? Type it into, are they listening? Answer us here, ma'am. Do you know this person?
Shirley, answer. You long-standing digestive problems or not?
And then even if
I'm looking for your answer.
And sometimes the answer is not, sometimes we don't notice these things. Like I said, they go under the radar. So find them. If you understand the mechanism of how I explained it, telomere shortening is not relevant because, what did he say? Telomere is breaking? Is that what he said?
They're broken. Yeah, the telomeres are broken.
What he's describing is genetic issues. And yes, there are going to be genetic issues as cells become toxic. Yeah, and yes, that can happen, but that's not the cause of the problem. The cause of the problem is inflammation. Question from, okay.
She's saying that she's taking I-26 for her mind.
Doesn't matter what she's taking. Why is she taking I-26?
Well, because, Doc talks about it for good cholesterol. He doesn't talk about it for digestive health. So when
why is she taking I-26 for cholesterol?
She's taking it to rebuild the myelin sheath in her brain. So again,
I-26? No, wait a minute. Are you saying
your myelin is a large percentage made of cholesterol. So Doc talks about
because of the egg, because it's egg powder,
because it's got the egg powder.
Okay,
so this is why Doc talks about it. He doesn't talk about it for the 26 pathogens that it's going to kill in your small intestine.
Okay, I never heard him talk. Yeah, you can eat eggs for that, but you don't need I-26 for the cholesterol. You can have eggs for that. The amazing thing about I-26 is that it has the immune factor, the antibodies that they give the chickens that now can take care of your SIBO, the excess bacteria. That's really the issue. Now that's true though. He's not wrong, but eggs will do the same thing for that. The I-26 will give you the benefits of the digestive system. I-26 provides 26.
Yeah, 25%.
Yeah, well, have a couple eggs and you'll have all the cholesterol you need. You don't need I-26.
And he recognizes that. He mentions the exact same thing, but
I've talked about that. That's a bonus.
It's a bonus.
That's a bonus. That's a bonus.
She's doing everything in Dr. Wallach's protocol for muscular dystrophy, and yes, she's had digestive issues all her life.
Okay, so let me ask you something.
Correct, Shirley?
Am I psychic Ben or am I pharmacist Ben? No, I'm pharmacist Ben. I'm not psychic Ben. But I could tell that you had digestive problems because this is the mechanism. It's the mechanism. Things get into the blood. Please don't overthink this. Don't overthink. It's stuff, the bad stuff's getting in and the good stuff isn't. And it's as simple as that. We can get you the good stuff. We can tell you about the bad stuff. You're going to have to do that yourself. But it's not any more than that. You can go from doctor to doctor, and the problem is the paradigm. You know what a paradigm is? Do you ever hear the term paradigm? It's the paradigm. We have a paradigm that we don't even notice. Oh, I'm sick. I go to the doctor. Oh, I've got diabetes. I go to the doctor. Oh, I can't move my arm or my legs, or I got tremors or this or that, symptom of MCT, Marie Charcot-Tooth disease. I go to the neurologist. He's not going to help you. Has he helped you? Shirley's her name? Shirley. Has the neurologist helped you? Have you gotten anything that's made your MCT go away or improve?
Well,
no, but we can do it.
She's with us.
What's that?
She's with us, but she's, I think, trying to do a little bit on her own, and she needs the help of us.
That makes sense. I wish I could see her or talk to her. I can't. So, I'm going to assume that makes sense to you. But does that make sense to you? I'll use AJ. You'll be my stand-in. Does that make sense what I said? Stuff's getting it's an inflammatory condition. The inflammatory system is activated by the bad guys. The bad guys get into the body through food, unless you're injecting. Who's BD? Is that our friend?
That's Becca Dukes. Yeah.
Becca Dukes.
If I didn't believe what you were saying, I wouldn't be here. So, but I'm with you. We're going to help Shirley. I sent her an invite to join. I'm just going to move to another question. Leslie, another one of our family, mentions that she got insanely sick from pollen burst. She believes that was the issue, and 3 hours of vomiting and liquid stool. Wondering if too much pollen was in there. She takes Rebound and otherwise.
That's no. It could be anything. There is caffeine in there.
Okay, well let me tell you what might have been it.
Yeah.
You might have had some plant-derived minerals. You might have taken some cherry mints and taken 2 ounces of cherry mints, which will do that. If you have too much of the plant-derived minerals,
it won't make you vomit, will it?
It won't make you vomit, but you're right about that. But you will be.
It'll clean you out. Yeah, it'll clean. I know what you're saying. No, I won't make you vomit. Vomit means the body's trying to expel something, like a toxin of some kind. So I've never heard that, although there is caffeine in there. And I don't know if sometimes people are sensitive to caffeine. I would have to ask this person a lot more questions, such as, has it ever happened before? Does she have a sense of some kind of digestive issues? There's a lot of questions I would ask. If it's just like a one-off thing, never happened before, never happened again, that seems very strange. Although there is 80 milligrams of caffeine in pollen burst, and if you drink it really fast, that'll kick your butt.
She doesn't want to. The customer doesn't like the taste of Rebound, and she can't, in good conscience, offer the customer pollen burst. But Shirley, Leslie, Keely, if you want to join the stream, click the link that I put on your platform. And Shirley, I put a link in Facebook for you. And Keely and Leslie, I put a link. Leslie, click the link. She said it's definitely pollen burst. But at any rate, Pharmacist Ben,
there's nothing in pollen burst that will make people sick.
Well, it's got trace amounts of gluten in pollen burst, right? So
you're not going to vomit from trace amounts of gluten unless you have like.
It's somebody's celiac, right?
That's not. No, you're not going to vomit. Okay. If people vomit, if one person vomited because pollen burst makes people vomit, it would be a lot more than one person. It wouldn't be one out of the millions of people who've used pollen burst over the last 40 years, 50 years.
It's an acquired taste, pollen burst, right? It is a little bit.
Vomiting is not because it didn't like the taste. Vomiting means your body was trying to expel something that was noxious. If it was pollen burst, then we would hear about that. I mean, it wouldn't be just one person out of the millions of people who've used pollen burst. It wouldn't be just one person who had a reaction. So I would guess there's something going on with that person, either stomach virus or flu, or
it happened with pollen burst a couple times. This is Leslie, who's also in the. I don't know. Leslie, click the link. Don't do it.
Hear that? Somebody goes to the doctor and says, "Doc, it hurts me when I do this," and the doc says, "Well, then don't do that." So that's kind of it. If you take pollen burst and you vomit, don't do pollen burst. There's nothing in pollen burst that will inherently make people vomit. But if you vomit from it, which, obviously, if you're vomiting from it or not, then I would advise you not to drink that pollen burst.
In Mia, I got this paradigm. Here's Leslie, and we'll let Leslie speak for herself. Leslie, we don't see you, but speak on up.
Hi, Leslie.
Oh, you don't? Can you hear me?
We hear you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hey, we hear you. We don't see you though. Oh, there you go.
You do hear me?
Yeah, we're starting to see a little of you.
It looked like you have
for a second there.
A hood on your camera.
Now we don't hear. Oh, there she is. Hi, Leslie. I see your.
Okay, wait. You know what?
We see you. What are you doing?
All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I wanted to see you though. Don't be shy. Now we can't even hear you.
Leslie, where'd you go?
I'm right here, if you can hear me.
All right, go ahead, Leslie.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay.
Where part of the country are you? Where are you? Where are you at?
I'm hearing an echo. I don't know why. Okay, let me. Let me turn off my
Turn your volume down a little bit, Leslie.
Okay, now?
Hi,
Now
Leslie.
you can
Go
hear me?
ahead. Talk to us.
No, I can't hear
Yes,
you.
ma'am. Oh.
I'm so sorry. I've never been on YouTube live before. I mean, Rebound or whatever, wherever we are. But if you can,
Restream.
all right, you know what? I'll have to call back because I can't get this volume thing to work.
All right, Leslie, we will see you in a minute.
All right.
Keely, I know you're not going to have this problem. Keely,
Hi,
talk
Keely.
to Pharmacist Ben.
What's up, Keely? Where's
And
Keely?
Keely's gone.
Keely
All
disappeared.
right. We just
Maybe it's us. Maybe it's us.
we're scaring people, man. You know, it's too much health information. So moving right along, Pharmacist Ben. I was also, I wanted to bring in some of the common questions, and one of the things I wanted to mention was they talked about fasting for 100 hours and how beneficial that might be. But here's Keely. Let's see, Keely, can we hear you?
And you can also, for people who don't want to fast, what you can do is you can do what they call timed eating. I forgot the term for it, where you eat only in very narrow windows, very short windows. Like you eat for, like 6 hours a day, and then for the remaining 12. What is
Becca
it?
says intermittent.
I don't know if they call it intermittent fasting. It's time duration eating or something along those lines. Timed is in the phrase or in the term, but the point is you eat in a 6 hour window and you don't eat for 18 hours. And during those 18 hours, you're generating ketones and your body's cleaning itself out. So if you don't want to fast, just make your eating window very narrow, 5 to 6 hours or something.
I watched you guys' YouTube video, and if I close my eyes, I thought it was Pharmacist Ben talking. He's talking about autophagy, and I was like, oh man, Ben, you're just all over the place here. Hey, Keely.
Hey, how are you there? Can you hear me?
Good to see you. We hear you and we see you,
sweetie.
Okay, I got bumped off for some reason, but I don't know how to work it, so it's probably operator error.
Where are you calling from? What part of the world?
I'm in Ohio. I'm 30 miles outside of Cleveland.
Okay, Cleveland rocks.
Yeah, so I just heard you call my name, AJ, so I figure I dial in. On the pollen burst thing, just a side note, there is a particular, I don't know, it's sort of, like when you drink green tea, the acidity that you get from it. I've had a couple people basically, talk about that whatever that is, it sort of upsets their stomach. And therefore, they also don't drink green tea because of that as well. So I don't know if that.
I would say it's the caffeine, if I had to guess on what it was.
So,
pollen burst has 80 milligrams of caffeine, which is it's a cup of coffee of caffeine. So if you drink it really fast, that's a lot of caffeine. And that can rag on your stomach a little bit, particularly if you take it on an empty stomach. There's not much else in there that could cause that could really cause vomiting. And then what you said about green tea is interesting, but that's also caffeine, although there's only probably half that, even less than half that, probably 35 milligrams of caffeine in a cup of green tea. So it's really not a lot of caffeine, but I guess if you're sensitive to it, other than that, I can't imagine what would do it. Acid shouldn't do it. I mean, your stomach has a pH of 1.2, really, really low. Your stomach's used to acid. So it shouldn't be acid wouldn't do it. The only thing I can think of is caffeine.
Becca's saying that somebody who's celiac might vomit.
I find that highly unlikely. Why? Because of the gluten is what you're thinking?
How about the herbicide?
Well, there is always that. But if that was the case, a lot more people would have problems.
Well, no, pollen burst is sourced from Sweden. It's all natural. They're not using herbicides.
There's not a lot of plant material. Right. There's not a lot of plant material in pollen burst, but in coffee, they probably spray, green tea. They probably spray green tea with stuff, and coffee too, for that matter. And there's nothing you can do about that. The point
that brings up another question, and you just mentioned the coffee. I just had a client who asked me. They said, "Hey, every time I drink the mushroom coffee, I get a really an upset stomach or uneasy, and then what happens is she takes the I-26 in order to combat it. Why would that happen?
Well, the mushroom coffee is an incredibly complex product, not like pollen burst, not like green tea. It's a very complex product. It's got a lot of working parts to it. And a lot of those working parts are fungal. They're mushrooms. And people can react to mushrooms. They're medicinal mushrooms.
Right.
Medicinal mushrooms, they have medicinal properties. They're active. So yes, that can do it. That makes more sense. Pollen burst doesn't make any sense to me, or for that matter, green tea. But yes, people can react to mushrooms for sure. And if that's the case, then that's something you wouldn't want to use. It doesn't happen a lot. I haven't even heard of it, but yes, mushrooms are very complicated, complex botanical systems, plant systems or fungal systems. And they can definitely cause, there's a lot of people who react to mushrooms.
Okay, I have another question for you if you're ready for it.
Yes.
I do have a client who's 60 years old who's had, actually, we talked about it a little bit. 60 years old, pretty good shape. Well, okay, that's an oxymoron. Bottom line is that he lost 90% of his sight in his right eye. He's actually been going to having a lot of frequency work done, and he hasn't seen any benefit of that over the last 6 months. And he was actually questioning what he has been told by the medical system in reference to the optic nerve. And he's got that diabetic retinopathy.
Why would he's answering his own question? He's a diabetic retinopathy. What does that mean? That means
you say he has diabetes, but he doesn't. He's not registering on that. That's what they're calling it. And he says all of his tests, everything's perfect.
Tests
not perfect.
Well, you know it, and I know it. But if you look at the numbers are all within range.
Okay, well, hang on. There's so much. You've got so much going on here. Okay, so first of all, is it called? What do you mean by diabetic retinopathy? Retinopathies don't have to be diabetic retinopathy. They can just be retinopathy.
That was the label that he gave them, and he was questioning it because he lost that sight at 34, started to lose it, but now he's 60, and he's lost 90% in one eye.
Who called it diabetic retinopathy? The patient or the
a neuro-ophthalmologist.
Okay. The neuro-ophthalmologist called it diabetic retinopathy, but the guy does not have diabetes.
No.
Okay, so let's digress here and unpack this, okay? Retinopathy means retina, that's the back of your eye, pathological, it's broken, it's diseased, it's messed up, a messed up retina. He has a messed up retina. Diabetic retinopathy is a messed up retina due
to the diabetes.
Diabetes. You don't have to have diabetes to have retinopathy. It's not the only cause of retinopathy. And I'll tell you some of the reasons why you have retinopathy. You can only have diabetic retinopathy if you're a diabetic. So if the doctor said he has diabetic retinopathy, he must be reading that he's a diabetic somewhere. He would not diagnose him with diabetic retinopathy unless he had some kind of reason to think he's a diabetic. So you're saying there's no reason to think he's a diabetic, but the doctor said he had diabetic retinopathy? That makes no sense.
You look at his blood test, everything. I mean, he gave me a couple of years worth.
I want to know why the guy called it diabetic retinopathy.
I don't know. I'd have to find out for you.
Yeah, that's the part I don't understand. So yeah, look at his. Okay, but you raised a bunch of interesting points there. First of all, you don't go by tests. You go by symptoms. Whether it's diabetic retinopathy or it's just retinopathy doesn't matter. What matters is his eyes are messed up. The reason his eyes are messed up are because of, what's that word the word of the day here? Inflammation. Inflammation means something is getting into his blood. Now, we've been talking about things that are getting into the blood through the intestine in terms of foods and food particles, but there's also bacterial particles that can get into the blood through the intestine. They call them endotoxins or LPSs, lipopolysaccharide. If you go on Google right now and you look up endotoxins and LPS and retinopathy, you'll see there's an association between them. So anything in the blood can cause retinopathy. But another thing that can get into the blood that can cause retinopathy or any other pathy, cardiomyopathy or sarcomyopathy or any other myopathy or any other pathy, any other pathological condition, is sugar. Sugar is caustic. And in essence, even though you need some sugar, it functions like a toxin. This is where diabetic retinopathy comes from. The tests that assess whether you're diabetic or not are metrics that are based on an arbitrary cutoff point. So, for example, 120 or 125 milligrams of sugar per deciliter of blood, they say you're diabetic. But if you're at 119.9999999999999, you're perfect. Oh, I don't have diabetes. I'm perfect. My blood test is great. But as soon as it goes from 119.9999999 to 120, I'm a diabetic. Do you see the arbitrary nature of this?
Yes, do.
As soon as you flip over by a speck of sugar, you go from being non-diabetic to diabetic. Oh, I'm 119.99999999999. I'm great. My blood test is perfect. Doctor says I'm normal. I have no diabetes at all. But then you have 1.000000001 milligram more of sugar in the blood. Boom, you're diabetic. Obviously, that's ridiculous because it's a spectrum. So you can't say my blood tests are normal. My blood doctor says I'm fine, because we don't know where that is, and nobody knows where that is. Because when they do the blood test, they're only doing the blood test for that specific moment in time. They're not doing the blood test for the entire day and the entire week and the entire month and the entire months and years. We don't know what the sugar is for a full spectrum of time, for a large amount of time. So you can't go by tests. You cannot go by tests. You always go by symptoms. And his symptoms are retinopathy. Retinopathy is often associated with blood sugar problems, with dysglycemia. I don't even like saying diabetes. I say dysglycemia. So you don't go by tests, you go by symptoms. Retinopathies are often associated with sugar, but they could be associated with other inflammatory factors as well. The point is, we want to get this guy better. The mechanism is only there to kind of validate the strategy for improving his health. Instead of me just asserting, get on the Healthy Start Pack and get on the I-26 and work on your gut and digestive system, I want you to see the mechanism. I don't ever want to be telling anybody what to do. I want you or the patient to tell himself what to do based on understanding how it's all happening. So something's getting into the guy's blood, whether it's sugar, whether it's toxins from the gut, or whether he's injecting it. Probably not injecting it. So then it's probably, okay, then no injections. So it's probably sugar and toxins from the blood. Food toxins or bacterial toxins. It's the same solution. Again, I'm going to be irrelevant here because I'm going to say the same thing every single time. Work on the blood sugar, work on the digestion. And not because I said so, but because it makes sense, because it's logical. Stuff is getting into the blood. Bad stuff getting in, good stuff isn't. Now, as far as rebuilding, there's a lot of good things he should be doing. Healthy Start Pack, that's always the basis of it. But all the blood sugar stuff, ultimate niacin, ultimate selenium, Fucoid Z, which is great for blood sugar, by the way, and great for the blood. We talk about it as being important for the immune system, for cancer, but it's important for rebuilding the mucosa in the intestine. It's important for wrinkles. It's important for the vascular system. It's important for connective tissue in general. And diabetic retinopathy retinopathy in general, whether it's diabetic or not, is in many ways a connective tissue problem. Fucoid Z is great for building connective tissue. Collagen peptides, ultimate EFAs, which are going to be part of the Healthy Start Pack. What else? CFX, Zinc FX, MSM. All of these are in the interest of building the connective tissue, strengthening the digestive tract, so patching up a leaky gut, and then correcting the intestinal environment, the intestinal milieu. That's the strategy.
Pharmacist Ben, can you explain what is the retina? Is it a nerve that's broken, or what is that? What is that piece?
So we should talk about the eye in general. The eye in general is kind of a very, very complex organ. The retina is this coating in the back of the eye. Like if you picture your eyeball like this, in the back of the eye, there's a coating that converts the light signals into neurological signals that is going to go to the brain. We don't see what's out there. Light is converted into neurology in the back, and then converted into chemistry in the brain, and then back into electricity, back into neurology. The retina is kind of like it's light sensitive tissue that converts photonic energy into neural energy, and then sends the neural energy to the brain. And that's where vision is created. It's a very, very complex structure. It's got layers, and it's got, have you heard of the rods and cones? Have you heard of rods and cones? Rods and cones are specialized cells that detect light and color. Have you heard of this term, rods and cones, AJ? No. Rods and cones are specialized cells that are in the retina that convert light into neural energy or electrical energy. When the retina is detached, when it's loosened, if you will, those signals become gibberish and you don't see, and it can cause blindness to the degree that it's detached. But a damaged retina can be repaired. There are surgical procedures that can repair it.
Mm-hmm.
You got tears in the retina.
And this retina is made of connective tissue?
The retina is probably made of epithelial tissue, but the connections are probably connected. The connections are likely connective tissue. But the retina itself, I'm not sure if it's it's neural tissue, actually. It's nerve tissue, mostly.
Okay, so now, and we're repairing the nerve tissue with the same strategy?
Yes, absolutely. The connection, the retina is connected to the back of the eye via connective tissue, but the retina itself is neural tissue. When you have a detached retina, the detachment is connective tissue. When something's detached, that means it's not connected. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Keely, I'm going to let you go because we got other questions. And
okay, great. Thanks, Ben.
I see Ben trying to look at his watch like he's trying to escape within an hour. But we're not going
I am not trying to escape at all.
All right, Pharmacist Ben. We got some other questions here. A friend of mine, this is from Kevin on YouTube. A friend of mine who's 79 years old developed lichen planus on her skin and mouth shortly after being jabbed a few years ago. Are there any natural treatments she can try?
It's permanent? It's permanently there?
Well, she's had it for a few years, apparently. Since being
yeah. Well, lichen planus is a miserable condition. And if she only has it in the mouth, that's, she's lucky, because it can happen in other parts too that it's miserable any way you look at it. But it is thought to be autoimmune. And nobody really knows what it is, but it's miserable. So what you want to do is you want to work on the immune system. It's an immune problem. And it's no surprise that after your body's been attacked. Remember I said most of the time when the blood is attacked or the body's attacked, it's through food, but you can have attack through injection. And that's why you want to be very careful about injecting things. Now, blood contamination is going to lead ultimately to inflammatory factors and a suppressed immune system. And that's what ultimately what lichen planus is. So what I would do is I would be treating it like an immune problem, like an autoimmune problem. All autoimmune diseases should be regarded as the end result of dirty blood. Dirty blood, in this case, has, a secondary cause, which is the injection. You can't do anything about the injection. However, you can clean the blood at the level of the intestine. And that's what I would be doing. I would want to know if this gal has digestive issues, work on the digestive system. I'd have to ask her a lot more questions. It's difficult to answer questions. Working with somebody's health doesn't lend itself to just taking questions on YouTube. So I would have to really go back and forth with this gal. But if I had to tell her something, it would be work on the digestive system, because that's where your immune system lives. The headquarters for the immune system is the intestine, the small intestine.
All right, Kevin. All right, Kevin. So on screen we have, you can email us at questions@dailywithdoc.com. We will talk to Ben, but ultimately Ben has mentioned on a number of occasions, if it's an autoimmune problem, you want to address it at the root. So you give us a call, give us an email and we will help you out, and we will connect you with Ben, and we will get you going. Is that about a good? Is that a good answer, Ben? Contact us and we'll help you out.
That's a good answer. And I prefer to like go back and forth with people so I can ask them questions, because you can't really, I can't give you a pat answer. I don't want to just say, take this, take that, without really understanding what's going on. So you say you have lichen planus, that is an autoimmune or an immune condition. Nobody's really, I think they label it as an autoimmune condition. But in any case, it involves the immune system. It involves pustules and swelling, and mostly it can happen in the mouth, it can happen in the fingernails, it can happen in various parts of the body. Mostly, when I hear about it, happens in the skin or in the mouth. That's typically where it happens. It can happen inside the gums sometimes. It's a very, very miserable condition. And on the skin, it shows up as like purpling and plaques. Really, really uncomfortable. There's nothing you can do except for, what do you think they give you as a drug? What class of drugs? No, they don't give you antibiotics. What's the class of drugs? Steroids. Why steroids?
Because it suppresses the immune system.
Exactly. So what is that telling you?
That your immune system's messed up and you're being attacked.
Exactly. If they give you an immune suppressant, what does that tell you the cause is? Immune. An activated immune system, right? If you get a drug that suppresses the immune system as your treatment, what is that telling you is the cause of the problem? A hyperactive immune system. Well, that's a good guess, because most problems are going to involve a hyperactive immune system. But what do you do for hyperactive immune system if you don't want to do a drug that suppresses the immune system? Figure out what's causing the immune system to activate. That means something's getting into the blood. We're back to bad guys in, good guys not in, right? I mean, I that's as simple as I can get. And if it's not, she's a little more complicated because she was injecting. I've been saying if you're not injecting, it's the digestive system. Hers is a little more complicated because she did inject, but that was 4 years ago. So there must be something that's steadily getting into the system in order for that immune system to be chronically activated that way. So it may have been that the injection tipped you over the edge. And without the injection, you may have been under that threshold, but then once you put that injection in, that kicked you over the threshold. So I would want to know what this person's digestive health is like, intestinal health is like, and what we call comorbidities. Have you heard the term comorbidities?
Absolutely.
I'd want to know what the comorbidities are. What other health challenges? Remember, if you have a canvas, a white canvas, and you put a dot in the middle, that don't help. I can't tell you what that drawing is. If you put another line, it can start to see something, but you put a third line, I could see a river. A fourth line, I could see a mountain. A fifth line, I could see birds. A sixth line, I could see grass. The more dots and lines I have on the canvas, the more detailed the picture will emerge. If I only have one dot in the middle, I'm nauseous. Okay, there's a million things that can do that. But if you say, I'm nauseous and I have skin rashes. Okay, now the picture's starting to emerge. I have nausea and skin rashes and I had tinnitus. Bingo, I can now tell you what the problem is. As pictures as symptoms start to accumulate, a picture emerges. And you need at least a few symptoms in order to get a full picture. But that being said, everything benefits by stopping every health challenge, every pathology, every symptom will benefit by stopping that stream of toxicity that's getting in through the intestine. Fasting is a great quick hack. If you don't want to go through the food diary, elimination diet thing, just stop eating for a couple of days. Your symptoms will typically just start to go down. Your symptoms, you'll experience some relief from your symptoms. And get those nutrients in there. The mighty 90 essential nutrients, that's the basics. But we have so many other wonderful nutritional supplements. One that we don't talk about, which we really should, is Dr. Ariaza's Liver Cleanse. Dr. Ariaza is not only maybe arguably the best network marketer you'll ever meet. There's a couple other good ones that I know, but Tom, and there's a few others, but he's epic. I mean, epic. But in addition to that, he's a brilliant healthcare professional. And he actually formulated a bunch of products, but one of his most important is the liver cleanse. It's called True to Life, I think. Is that what it's called? True to Life.
True to Life liver cleanse.
True to Life, and Wonderful product. Bile, I think we've talked about bile last time. Bile is your main detoxification fluid. Everybody knows about bile, or when we talk about bile, we talk about it as a digestive fluid, but it's really, in addition to being important for the digestive system, it's a detox fluid. And when bile becomes sludgy because we're toxic, that's when you get gallbladder issues and gallstone issues. And then they'll want to take your gallbladder out when it's really an issue of toxicity.
Mm-hmm.
Bad stuff in, good bad stuff's getting in that shouldn't. Good stuff is not getting in that should.
Pharmacist Ben, we have a question. Do you know what can be the root cause of Pterygium surfer's eye? Eye's drainage is blocked and doctors don't know why. That's almost like a rhyme.
Say that again. Pterygium surfer's eye?
Yeah, Pterygium.
Yes, I know what that is. Pterygium refers to a flap. I hadn't heard. I don't think I've heard the term surfer's eye, but pterygium. A pterygium is a little. It's the Latin term for a little flap that grows on the clear tissue of the eye. The white of the eye is covered with something called the conjunctiva. Have you ever heard of conjunctivitis? Conjunctivitis. Have you ever heard of conjunctivitis?
Yes.
You have swelling of the conjunctiva.
Well,
yeah.
Okay.
So surfer's eye is a little growth on the eye that starts in that area, and then it'll grow towards the center of the eye, towards the cornea. And yes, it can be a serious problem. So here's the issue: growths, whether they're boils, or cysts, or fibroids, or pterygia, or where else would you have endometriosis? Anytime you have growths anywhere, cancer, you want to think about the main growth trigger in the body. What's the main growth trigger in the body? Give you a clue. Exactly. So once again, you've got one dot. I got a pterygium. I got a flap in the eye, tissue growth in the eye, right? That's one dot in the center. That ain't helping me. Although, we can go back to the basics and we could say bad stuff getting in, including sugar and foods, etc. But I want to know what else is going on. Typically, growths of any kind, skin tags, pterygia, cysts, fibroids, all that kind of stuff, insulin. Keloids, insulin. That's the main bad guy for growths.
Is that fact? Is that okay? But
keloids are a little bit different. Keloids are a little different. There's some vitamin D issues and fatty vitamin issues that are essential fatty acid issues involved with keloids. Keloids are a little bit different. They're not strictly growths. They're disturbed growths. They're connective tissue. The way connective tissue grows, it has to grow at just the right rate. With keloids, connective tissues are growing way too fast and way out of balance. And that's what causes that. I don't know if you've ever seen a keloid, but it's basically collagen. Yeah, black men get it. Interestingly, black men get a lot. And black men suffer from two very interesting health issues or biochemical issues, we'll say. One, vitamin D deficiency. And keloids are associated with vitamin D deficiency. And by the way, African-American men are at high risk for hypertension, for prostate issues, as well as for certain cancers. And all of these can be the result of vitamin D deficiencies. Why would African-American men have problems with vitamin D, do you think?
Well, the melanin, you're not standing in the sun as much, but...
You're not getting the sun. Exactly. You're being protected from the sun. So keloids, vitamin D, and also testosterone is involved in keloid production. Women typically aren't going to get keloids. It's mostly a male thing. Although sometimes you'll see.
I've seen some outrageously large keloids in my day.
I know, I have too. It's pretty horrific, and there's not much you can do about it once it's there.
Notorious Steph, what does Pharmacist Ben recommend for a type of sunscreen? I know he's talked about it a million times.
Zinc oxide, occutive orally, and lots of pigmented vegetables, braised pigmented vegetables. Occutive protects your eyes, but also protect your skin. Zinc oxide topically, and braised vegetables, pigments from braised vegetables that are braised in butter. So the pigments are released. The pigments get stored in your skin where they act as sun protection. And then, of course, there's great nutrition. Well, Occutive, if you want individual supplements, there's a lot you can use, but Occutive has everything you need for the skin.
Which brings me up, I mean, I wanted to...
And Vision FX also.
I wanted to bring up a bunch of videos that I saw. I wanted you to debunk them, but this one lady, no credentials, not that credentials matter.
Not that credentials matter.
But she goes on and says, I don't eat vegetables because vegetables are bad for you. I just eat fruit or something. But there was no evidence that she was...
I can't really address, that's kind of...
There was
I want to know what she's thinking. Fruit is a big problem. I'll tell you why. First of all, vegetables are not benign. Vegetables can be problematic. There's lectins. There's these defense molecules in vegetables. Everybody knows about nightshades, but there's other things too in vegetables that people don't realize could be a problem for folks who have arthritis or acne or inflammatory issues. So vegetables can be a problem. And, obviously grains aren't vegetables really, but vegetables can be a problem for sure. Histamines, for example, are in vegetables, and then there's the whole nightshade thing. So you got to be careful with vegetables. Fruits, on the other hand, don't have as much of a problem with the lectins, although they can be histamine producers or histamine activators, particularly citrus fruits. But what fruits do have is a lot of sugar, fructose. Now, you do get fiber, and you get structured water, and you get nutrients that help you process the sugar. But today's fruits have been bred to be super duper sweet, high in fructose. And some of the phytonutrients, which are bitter, have been genetically modified out of the fruits. So you're getting fruits that are super duper sweet with not as much protective nutrients in them. So you got to be a little bit careful with fruits. Fruit juices are especially problematic. But fruits, you got to be a little careful. Certainly there's great stuff in fruits. Most of the great stuff in fruit is in the peel and the pulp, or in the rind. The pulp has some good stuff too, depending on, the kind of fruit you're eating. Berries and cherries, the smaller fruits, are going to have the most nutritional value, but those are the ones that absorb the most pesticide. So you got to be really careful any way you look at it with fruits. You got to be careful with vegetables. None of them are benign, and you just got to be careful with what you eat. You can't just put stuff into your mouth. Unfortunately, the way our food supply has been tweaked, not even aside from the ultra processed food, even the produce and the meats and the fish.
Ben, people, if every day someone's hearing, don't eat this, eat this, then the next day they're going to hear, don't eat this, eat that. And then it's something else.
Here's what you do. Eat as little as possible. Don't eat mentally. Eat as close to physiologically as possible, not because something tastes good or because you're bored or because, it looks good on TikTok or Instagram or on social media, whatever. Eat just because your belly needs to eat. Eat as little as possible and try to eat as unprocessed as possible as well. And other than that, yeah, you're right. We're stuck. We've turned the food supply completely upside down. It doesn't.
But even even things like spinach. There's some people who say don't eat spinach. It's an acidic food.
That's silly. That's silly. It's an acidic food, and there's oxalates. I know. I've heard that. That's silly. Don't eat a lot of spinach, and if you have a problem, don't eat it if you have a problem. But you got to have a certain amount of food, but you don't need a lot of it. 1,000 calories a day is plenty for most people, unless you're an athlete or you're growing or you're recovering from surgery or you're pregnant. But for most of us, 1,000 to 1,200 calories is plenty. Most people are getting twice that much or 3 times that much. So I'm guilty of eating when I'm bored. I know what that's like, and I know I pay the price. When I eat food that my belly doesn't want, but my eyes or my brain want, I pay the price. That's when I gain weight.
When you're reading, are you eating popcorn or what are you doing?
When I'm reading, no, yeah, I make popcorn. I definitely make popcorn, and I eat crappy food all the time, and I pay the price. Luckily, I don't have a full-blown health challenge.
What's a crappy food that Pharmacist Ben eats? All right, we have breaking news here, folks.
I had this cantaloupe peach jam and coconut cashew butter on bread.
Come on, man. All right.
I had a bunch of it.
No,
I
listen.
didn't need it. I didn't need
Bad
it.
food is
No,
Twinkies.
I don't eat
We want
Twinkies.
to hear Twinkie. We want to
No,
hear
I don't eat Twinkies. No, I don't eat that stuff.
dingle dongle. That's what we're looking to hear you say.
I don't eat McDonald's. I don't do that. But I had this, I didn't need to have this cashew butter and coconut butter and cantaloupe peach jam on semolina bread. I didn't need that, but I did. And I ate a bunch of it. I'll get on the scale tomorrow and I'm sure I'll pay the price. So I do that. But if I had arthritis or if I had, diabetes, or if I had some kind of health challenge, I would know that these were places that I could work. These represent leverage points. That's the only reason to worry about your food, is if you have some kind of health challenge you're worried about, these represent points of power. That's all. This is not about being a good person or a bad person. That's why I always have to say, David, I'm not David Avocado Wolf. Oh, this is a really bad food. Oh, I don't do that. I don't play that game. Nobody should. Let people eat whatever they want to eat. But if you have arthritis, or you have Marie Charcot tooth syndrome, or you have lichen planus, or you have cardiomyopathy, these are power points for you. These are leverage points that will really get you better when the doctor cannot. The medical model's not equipped to deal with these things, but we are through our lifestyle choices, especially with food. There's other things too. There's breathing, there's meditating, there's exercising, there's spirituality. There's a whole bunch of other things you want to do, but food is the most powerful leverage point that we have.
Pharmacist Ben, what happened to your red light therapy mask?
On Truth? What, my Truth Treatments mask? Is that what you're talking about?
Luda's asking what happened to your red light therapy.
Luda, you cornering me here on my longevity call? Luda, how you doing, Luda? Luda, I don't know. I don't know why they're not. I'm not sure about the mask. You have to call Truth. I'm just a pharmacist. I'm just a little old pharmacist. I've been talking to Luda for years. Luda's great. Thank you, Luda. Thanks for joining.
Okay, so you're not going to tell us about the mask.
I don't know. I can't answer the mask. I can't answer the question. You have to call Truth about that. I do skincare. Do you know that? I do skincare. That's my main business.
Do you really?
Yes, truthtreatments.com. I rarely talk about it with my longevity. I don't like mixing things up, but if you want it, what I'm doing with Truth Treatments is completely changing how skincare is done. Skincare is stuck in an old model that nobody thought to change, much like medicine. Do you know the skincare products we use today were developed by Helena Rubinstein and S.D. Lauder and Elizabeth Arden at the turn of the 20th century? And they didn't know squat about the skin. But what they did was they knew about marketing, and they knew about pretend, and they knew about aspiration, and they knew about experience. And that's what skincare is today. Skincare is aspirational. It's experience. They use celebrities and models, and it's all the same crap, no matter where you buy it. So what I did with Truth, because basically I was in the pharmacy and I was dealing with people at burns. I have a compounding pharmacy. My background is dermatology, which you may not know. I know you know I do Truth, but I don't know if you knew this. My background is dermatology. I studied dermatology in pharmacy school with a very famous inventor. The guy who invented Blistex was my professor, and I worked for him for 4 years, getting my internship hours. There you go. And so I learned about medicinal dermatology and how you take care of traumas, basically, and wounds and skin diseases. And in my pharmacy, I started doing something that today everybody's heard of, but back when I started, nobody knew about it, called compounding, which is when you actually make the medicine. Because I was making skincare medicine. I was actually making people medicine for their burns and for their traumas. And if they came out of surgery and they didn't want to scar, I would make them a cream to prevent scarring. Or if a rock fell on their head, or the garage door came down and cracked their skull, or babies who fell and hit the corner of a table, and all kinds of weird things that I was seeing, and not weird, but just traumatic things I was seeing in my pharmacy. I would make products for healing their skin. And the way I did it, guess how I did it? I took out all the bad, not the bad stuff, but the stuff that didn't do anything, the water, the wax, the fillers, the emulsifiers, the gums, the preservatives, the fragrances, the thickeners. There's so much in a skincare product that doesn't do anything for your skin. I took it all out and I replaced it with, guess what? Nutrients. Yes. Vitamins, minerals, amino acids, fatty acids, the mighty 90. And I was doing this even before I heard the term the Mighty 90, just because I was involved with nutrition as an athlete and in pharmacy school. And I made topical nutritional supplements that were just nutrients and delivery systems that got those nutrients to the cells. And then people would come back, even after their burn was gone, they would come back for the product. They wanted to stay on the product. They didn't want to get off the product because the product was making their skin look so beautiful and healthy. And I just turned it into True Skin Health. I turned them into skin products, but they're not like regular skincare products. You only use 1 drop or 2 drops of a Truth Transdermal C serum. My Truth Transdermal C serum is 80% or 78% actually fat soluble vitamin C, not water soluble, fat soluble. And there's all kinds of bells and whistles. And if you go on truthtreatments.com, you can read all about it.
Fantabulous. I know that we're talking to an expert, so that's why we are glad you're here. Pharmacist Ben.
Thank you.
I think we are
thank you. Thank you. Was it Keely? Thank you, Keely, and thank you, Marie.
Keely and Leslie and
Luna.
Folks, please just email us at questions@dailywithdoc.com. I know that might be an exercise that you don't really want to engage in to get your answers. I know that a lot of folks just want to hear the answers right here and right now. But the only way that we can really communicate with you is if you email us, give us your phone number, call us at 855-949-3377. Ask, mention that you want to talk to Becca, you want to talk to AJ, you want to talk to Ben, you want to talk to a health coach who can help you, because that's all we're here for, is to give you a bit of assistance so that you can make your own changes. Is that about right, Ben?
That is it. And thank you so much. AJ, we'll see you on Friday.
You're the man, Ben. Are you going to let my outro play, or are you going to cut it off?
No, you can let it play.
You going to let it play?
Let it play.
See you Friday. Thank you for being here on a holiday.